I did it all, you know what I mean? It got to the point where that lifestyle actually was the reason I started to search. Besides the death of Tupac, the death of my grandmother, even when I was 3 years old, the death of my mother and father, they got murdered in front of me. So all my life I seen death. One of the things that really changed me and made me start to look and search was that lifestyle, because I got to the point when I left New Jersey, when I left the hood, I thought that the ultimate happiness is houses, money, and cars. This is what the rappers...
Houses, money, and cars.
Yeah,
that's
exactly
what they keep singing about.
This is what they portray on the television. So when I said, once I got these type of materialistic things and items, I said, now I will be happy. It was a time in my life, man, when I was 20, 25, 24 years old, 23 years old, I had 3 houses, 3 brand new houses. Yeah. Cars, every time a car would come out, I would go purchase this car. But I remember when I used to go to sleep at night by myself, I used to feel very depressed, and I used to tell myself, how come I'm not happy?
Amid a nationwide debate in France surrounding attitudes towards the Islamic veil or hijab, a French rapper has surprised fans by announcing her conversion to Islam and choosing to wear a headscarf. The French artist Diam has gone through what onlookers have described as a complete transformation. The French rapper made her first television appearance with her new image.
Elle s'appelle Mélanie.
Diams appeared in an exclusive TV interview with French TV station TF1 to talk about a past experience with drugs, including hallucinations, narcotics, and being in a mental asylum.
It took time. I studied it for a long time. I had a lot of common misconceptions about what Islam was. At one point, I hated Muslims. I thought all Muslims should die. Anyone who even resembled what a Muslim in my mind was, they shouldn't exist. Why are they here? They should go back to their country. One of the most beautiful things that could ever happen to me, but it has also brought its own fair share of hardships. My family does not accept Islam, therefore they don't speak with me. As a result of it, my family has taken my daughter from me. I have suffered loss of my job, because it's okay if I walk through this life alone. It's okay if I have no family, if I have no friends, if I have the biggest house or if I have no house, if I have all the money in the world or if I have no money. It's okay because I have God. It's okay because I have God.
I found Islam because I was lost. I was delving between, different religions, atheism, existentialism. I didn't know, and I had a coworker give me a Quran to read. I found a lot of peace in it. It's like, this is what was right. There were no contradictions in it. There were no issues with it. It was what was right. And that's the only thing I can come up with, is it just felt right. I dress better. I feel better. I'm not as anxious anymore. Well, I'm anxious today, but it's different. It's a different anxiety. I eat better. I don't feel angry. I don't feel lonely anymore. I have felt better in the last year than I have the last 26 years I've been alive.
And the way Sheikh Saad Al-Ghamidi recites this, it just is so beautiful. I didn't know what it meant, but it became my favorite verses just by the sound. Then when I began to read and understand what it meant, every time I think about these verses, I just think one thing, that maybe we will hear Allah say this. That Allah will allow some of us to hear these words, and we will hear these words enter. So this verse is very dear to my heart, because this is my hope, that we will hear this, and that my children and my parents will hear these verses. Inshallah.
I think every Muslim feels that when first time you step in Haram and you see the Kaaba, oh my gosh, La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar. I'm such a sinful person, and yet Allah invited me to His house. So much money to be there, and they sleep in the masjid, and they don't have no place to stay just to perform Hajj. Allahu Akbar.
You believe in God, and is He one?
Yes.
He has no partners? No.
I swear.
There is no God to worship except my one God. And I swear that Muhammad is his messenger, Jesus is his messenger.
Good. I have a little bit of hope.
We're gonna be in TV.
And you come from a Christian background, believing in Jesus, but now when I asked you, do you believe that was he God or sent by God? Do you believe that he was one who was sent by God, just like Moses, Abraham, and the last incarnation of the Prophet Muhammad, who called the people to only worship the Creator and not his creation? That's Islam. He's taking off the cross, mashallah. Now repeat after me. Repeat after me. Okay, repeat after me now. We're almost there. Look. I bear witness that there's nothing worthy of worship except the one God Allah.
Except the one God Allah.
And I bear witness. That Muhammad is the final messenger of God.
Is the final messenger of God.
Who accepts Islam, does his will, everything.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. وأشهد أن عيسى عبد الله ورسوله. وأشهد أن الجنة حق والنار حق. لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله. بارك الله فيك إن شاء الله. اللهم صل. Nun înseamnă că noi am părăsit religia creștină, nu, din contra.
Habib Todd Berger came here from the US. Of Jewish ancestry, raised a Christian, he converted to Islam 2 years ago.
But started teaching me some things that she had learned, like Salat and Tawbah and doing Astaghfirullah. And I started with that. And then my heart just continued to open more and more. So my family has concerns and issues. And they also recognize that I have a deep connection with God, with the one God. I believe that people have no idea what Islam is. It's unfortunate that the media in the States has portrayed Islam as it is, because there's no connection between terrorism and Islam.
I'm only 20 years old and I've been brought up in Australia my whole life. I was brought up to be kind of prejudiced, and so I always had a bad view about Muslims. So, 9/11 happened, I thought they were all terrorists, and I was brought up, to believe that. I was brought up to be a Christian, but by Christian it means I could still go out and drink and do everything because I believe that Jesus died for my sins and I was forgiven. Really, really happy. And all I want is support from you. But if you don't understand, that's okay. Because I've met so many other sisters and brothers and family here. But at the same time, I still want my parents and my grandparents and the ones that have accepted me, I'm so thankful for. And I'm so happy, and this is a lifetime commitment I want to have.
First time I said these words was when I was alone in my house, and it didn't really hit me then. I knew I said it and I knew I believed it, but it didn't really affect me as much as the first time I actually prayed. And the first time was here in this masjid down there, and I prayed in sujood, and that was the first time it really affected me. That's when you start, like I just couldn't stop crying, really, to be honest. And that's when you feel It's when you feel like in sujood, the closest to Allah. And you can't get any closer. So you really feel it then. And this is the first sujood I ever made in my life. This is when you really feel the shahada. Not just words.
My mother is converted Christian, and while listening yesterday of your conversation, I quietly touched. My heart was quietly touched, and I realized that Islam is a.
I bear witness.
I bear witness
That there is no God.
there is no one God.
That there is
no God
worthy of worship
worthy of worship
except Allah.
except Allah.
And I bear witness
And I bear witness
that Muhammad
Muhammad
was the last messenger
was the last messenger
of Allah.
of Allah.
Alhamdulillah. Welcome to Islam, sister.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله.
I'm 40. I knew that I wanted those changes in my life, you know, and that it was time for peace and tranquility and growth with God. Unless it was their beliefs, no one would say anything. It was walking on eggshells 24/7. And they were very cruel to me. And as far as the religion, they were very cruel to me from a very young age. And I miss them as people, but I don't miss their religion at all. And I don't think they'll ever change. And it was a horrible experience. It was absolutely terrifying as a child to go through that. They're very extremist, and, you know, I mean, as a child, they were taking me to exorcisms and all kinds of crazy things, and it was, and, you know, would beat up on me emotionally all the time. I knew I didn't want to be, not to be harsh, not to be judgmental, but I knew I didn't want to be part of their crazy religion. It was, you know, borderline occult, and I couldn't do it. And I was persecuted by them every time I saw them. So I miss my nieces like crazy, but I can't go back to that life. I would rather just, you know, have my Muslim family and have God in my life, the real God, the true God, not a bunch of man-made, you know, rules and regulations. And their religion caused me so much pain, and this one doesn't.
وأشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. الله أكبر.
الله أكبر. تكبير.
الله أكبر. Jetzt bist du unsere Schwester. Jetzt bist du unsere Schwester im Islam.
Because I am Muslim, have 8 years, and never Muslims brothers come to my home to pray with me. Which sure is the first time I can make my salat with brothers here. And thank you so much to be here. And you are always welcome here. Now you have my home like your home here. I never think I can get brothers, Muslim brothers in my academy playing jiu-jitsu with me, and after in my home praying with me, with my little boy, with my family, and I'm so happy. I'm crying, but I am happy. Thank you. Thank you.
يا الله يا رحمن يا رحيم يا ملك يا قدوس يا سلام.
Voilà, je sentais quelque chose et je sais que voilà, on peut avoir un contact avec Dieu parfois différent et j'avais voilà, parfois le soir ce contact avec lui. Je m'étais dit si un jour il y a forcément quelque chose de plus juste ou de plus vrai et si un jour j'ai la chance de pouvoir toucher à ça.
اللهم ثبتهم على الإيمان وارزقهم أعلى الجنان كما رزقتهم هداية القرآن بالقرآن اهتديت.
To be honest, I felt religion caused a lot of problems and I was more interested in the human condition and caring for human beings. I called myself atheist. I was more 99% atheist, but there was this tiny little bit of me that couldn't quite call itself completely atheist. That's the whole beauty of the thing. I wasn't actually looking at religion at all. Quickly scanned through the first chapters and the first thing I read was, oh, the women. Oh, I'll read this. I'll read this. Opened it up and started reading it. And quite emotional, sorry. The shock was quite profound. Even now, it's quite profound. Anyway, I remember reading the words and thinking, well, this isn't what I expected. And I read a bit more and thought, I can't believe what I'm reading. So I shut the book and thought, okay, I've read a bit now, that'll do me. But I couldn't stop reading it. So a few days later, I decided to read from the front. It was just wonderful. It was so gentle, but very profound. It was very powerful, just reading the words. I desperately tried to rationalize it and kept reading, and the more I read, the more it made sense. And as I say, it really was like a light had been turned on. Very bizarre for somebody who'd been so against religion. And I remember trying desperately not to believe what I was reading, resisting it, and at one point closing the Quran and thinking, I'm never going to read this anymore, I'm not going to read anymore. But I couldn't help myself.
My childhood, I was raised in a Christian family, raised by Methodist parents. So we literally lived right next door to a Methodist church. So we would walk every day to a church. And I feel like 9/11 was a huge hit on Muslims. I had a gun to my head, and I said, if there's any God of any faith, please give me a sign. Islam to me was the truth because I felt like God spoke to me that day. Allah spoke to me, and He spoke to me with love. And that was it was the moment that I have never felt. And I'm sorry.
¿Te gusta?
Me encanta. Es una religión muy bonita, es muy profunda, llega al corazón.
Una religión buena, ¿no?
Llega la religión, llega al corazón.
¿Qué amor?
وخذوهم واحصوا من المشركين استجارك فأجره حتى يسمع كلام
¿Cómo sientes tú escuchando al Corán? ¿Qué sientes? ¿Qué sientes?
ثم أبلغه مأمنا ذلك بأنهم قوم لا يعلمون.
Just keep remembering it's a test from Allah. Allah is our strength, our wiseness and our helpful. He will help us in this world. Even though it's a test, you know you will succeed in paradise, and paradise will be greatly rewarded to all. Keep going. Allah is my strength, and I will not stop fighting to the day my time comes to paradise. Never. Never. Never, ever, ever. They could take my child away unless I get a place. They said if I don't get a place, my child will be put into adoption, which means I will never see my child again. But I keep praying to Allah. I said, no, I know that my child may go into adoption, but give me strength, because I need this strength to get my home. And that's what I'm trying to do, is trying to get home.
I think because I've been through so many. So they thought that I was going to die. So then I had to reassure them I was not going anywhere. And then I had a stroke. And all the time I kept thinking, La ilaha, La ilaha, La ilaha. But that's what gets me through that one little ayah. And it helps to get through. Oh, shukran. Afu. Please, I'm so sorry. It helps me to get through those bad times. When I thought that when my husband left us, nothing else could hurt as badly. Can't put a defining reason on why I became Muslim, except that I felt it was the right thing for me. That especially when I went to Iraq, and I felt that it was the right thing for me when I got there, and I was interacting every day within the family, and I was just seeing everything. Hearing the muezzin, I'd been in a few mosques.
اتصلت بها وباركت لها الحمد لله يعني العفو يعني الحمد لله أسعد يوم عندي وهو ذاك النهار تاع يوم الزواج ويوم الشهادة.
My name is James Frankel. I'm going to be speaking to you a little bit about my experiences coming to Islam. I am a professor of the book, and I just began to read. And I read and I read and I read until I fell asleep with the book in my hands. And the next day, I read and I read and I read when I had some free time. And any time I had free time between classes, when I was commuting to school on the New York City subway, I was just reading the Quran. And it moved me in a way that other books hadn't. Certainly in a way that the Bible didn't. The Quran's directness and the fact that the Lord of the worlds, right, the Creator, as the book describes the author, is speaking directly to you at times. Very direct way, very intimately. It moved me in a way that I had not felt before. And I can't tell you where or when exactly. I know that there were times that I would read it, and sometimes I could feel tears in my eyes and running down my face. Sometimes I would read it and the hair on my arm would stand up, on the back of my neck. And I can't pinpoint precisely the time or the place, but at some point I think that I had realized that I was reading the words of God.
Peace Convention by a friend. And I came here because it was called a Peace Convention. But I found this catalog, like a booklet, that said something about Yusuf. It was written that raised as a strong Christian, educated in Texas, USA, he became very successful, owning music stores, television shows, and was a music minister and preacher of the Bible. So I want to ask you, sir, as a preacher of the Bible, what was the reason or the point or the truth that you found in Islam that led to your conversion as a strong Christian and preacher of the Bible?
That's the one thing nobody can imprison. They can lock me in a prison, put me in a box, throw me in the ocean, but they can't control this. That's mine. That's yours. You own it. So if you get inside of that heart, like I did, and clean it out and throw all the trash and the garbage out of there, throw the lies out of there, the misconceptions, the prejudice, and just give it all up and say, you know what? I belong to God. I just belong to God. God, guide me. And that's what I did. And when I did that, I had this strange impression I need to put my head on the ground. And so I did that. My head on the ground, I said these words, Gabriel. Oh God, if you're there, guide me. And when I got up, I realized something. I'm the one with the problem. The world's not the problem. I was the problem. And from that day to this day, 19 years, I'm saying the same thing every day, 17 times a day. Ihdina Siratal Mustaqim, guide us to the straight path. Ihdina Siratal Mustaqim, guide us to the straight path. I know it because I've been through this again and again and again. Thousands of people I watch come to Islam again and again, just like Gabriel. They're looking for truth. They're not looking for Islam. They're not looking for the Quran. They're just looking for truth, real truth. And because there's only one God and only one way to get to God, it has to be on His terms, and there's only one way. And we said it in Adina, in the Lahi, Islam.
كلمتان حبيبتان إلى الرحمن خفيفتان على اللسان ثقيلتان في الميزان سبحان الله وبحمده سبحان الله على اللسان.
وإذا سمعوا ما أنزل إلى الرسول ترى أعينهم تفيض من الدمع مما عرفوا من الحق يقولون ربنا آمنا فاكتبنا مع الشاهدين. لو أنزلنا هذا القرآن على جبل لرأيته خاشعا متصدعا من خشية الله وتلك الأمثال نضربها للناس لعلهم يتفكرون. الله نزل أحسن الحديث كتابا متشابها مثانية تقشعر منه جلود الذين يخشون ربهم ثم تلين جلودهم وقلوبهم إلى ذكر الله ذلك هدى الله يهدي به من يشاء إن الدين عند الله الإسلام وما اختلف الذين أوتوا الكتاب إلا من بعد ما جاءهم العلم بغيا بينهم ومن يكفر بآيات الله فإن الله سريع الحساب.